Okay, I want you to imagine something completely mind-blowing for a second. Imagine waking up from total, absolute emotional numbness. Just think about that. You've lived for years in this gray, empty void, completely insulated from joy, from sorrow, anger, love, all of it. And then suddenly, without any warning at all, the dam breaks. You feel everything, literally all at once. The sheer, crushing weight of human emotion just comes crashing right back into the global consciousness. How would you even handle it? How would humanity handle it? Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into a truly breathtaking narrative derived from Whispers of the Deep, specifically a deeply philosophical continuation aptly titled The World That Feels Again. So let's jump right in and see exactly what happens when a totally numb planet suddenly wakes up. Now, the sheer chaos of this awakening was staggering. Chapter 23 paints this vivid picture of a world that changed entirely too fast. People who had lived in the void for years simply were not ready for it. Out in the streets, you had people who were literally laughing and crying at the exact same time. Some were struck by this profound, agonizing loneliness out of nowhere, while others were just knocked to their knees remembering what it actually felt like to love someone. But, this awakening wasn't just some beautiful reunion with humanity's better angels, because with emotion came the terrifying return of cruelty. People immediately began inflicting pain on one another again. And that incredibly jarring shift brings us to Section 1, the pull of emptiness, the human desire to escape the pain. Because of that sudden, overwhelming rush of both beautiful and terrible feelings, society essentially fractured overnight. The shock of sensation was so severe that entire factions of people immediately wanted to erase their feelings again. They actually tracked down Kai, who was the only person that knew how to restore the void. There's this incredible scene where Kai is standing in a noisy city, just completely overwhelmed by the intense friction of existence, and he's confronted by Akira. When she asks him if he truly wants to erase it all, he clenches his fist and makes this painful confession. He says, "When you feel nothing, living is easy. But now, it hurts." And it makes sense, right? The numbness of the past was incredibly tempting because it acted as this perfect, impenetrable armor against suffering. But Akira doesn't coddle him at all. She looks at him calmly and delivers what is basically the core philosophical truth of this entire story. She says, "It means you're alive." Pain isn't some glitch in the human experience. It is the fundamental proof of it. You simply cannot selectively numb the bad things without also completely killing the good things. To be alive is to be vulnerable to the ache of existence. So what happens next? Let's move to Section 2, the awakening of the observer, the macro consequences of human emotion. Because the return of feelings isn't just a psychological shift. It triggers a massive planetary reaction. People worldwide start having these synchronized dreams of deep black water and an enormous eye. But the gaze of this ancient entity is no longer terrifying anymore. It's curious. The ocean literally opens up, and a voice speaks with this newfound warmth, saying, "I understand now." When Akira asks if it is the observer, the entity replies, "No, I am what he became." The observer didn't just passively watch humanity get its feelings back. It was fundamentally transformed into something entirely new. And this actually brings us to theory number 3 from the source lore. If a mind observes feelings for too long, one day it inevitably begins to feel them itself. I absolutely love how this is laid out as a cold, hard rule of the universe. The observer watched humanity's chaotic, beautiful, messy emotions for so long that it essentially caught them like a contagion. Empathy in this universe is an actual physical force. You cannot bear witness to the depths of human feeling without eventually being infected by it yourself. The cold god of the deep has finally developed a heart, which escalates things dramatically. Let's look at Section 3, the planetary mirror, the mechanical stakes of a feeling world. The stakes here just jumped from personal philosophy to literal planetary survival. The physical state of the Earth is now completely, directly tethered to whatever humanity is feeling collectively. There's no buffer anymore. When millions of people are suffering, grieving, or hurting one another, the ocean violently responds with these incredibly destructive storms. It literally mirrors our collective agony. But conversely, when humanity feels collective hope or peace, the planetary waters instantly calm down. The environment is basically acting as this massive, totally uncontrollable amplifier for the human psyche, which leads Ira to a truly chilling realization. When someone asks if a humanity consumed by hatred would cause the ocean to destroy the world, Ira answers so softly, "No, it will drown with us. This is a massive shift. It is no longer man versus nature. Humanity and the planet are now locked in a mutual survival pact. We have literally created a living heart for the planet, and the terrifying problem is that this heart is dangerously human. It's just as fragile, just as volatile, and just as capable of self-destruction as we are. And that brings us to the climax of all this in Section 4, the beautiful burden, confronting humanity's true reflection. How do you possibly live with the knowledge that your own flaws could literally tear the world apart? We follow Mio, who is standing by the shore at night weeping as she looks out at the turbulent water. She's remembering the ocean, the observer, and all the agonizing choices they made to try and save the world. She turns to Akira and asks this totally heartbreaking question. We tried to save the world so many times. What if the problem is us? What if the apocalypse is just a mirror reflecting humanity's own inability to heal its hatred and fear? It's a heavy thought, right? It challenges absolutely everything they've fought for. But Akira doesn't despair. As the storm gradually starts to calm, she looks out at the waves, smiles warmly, and simply says, yes. But that is also the reason why the world is beautiful. It's brilliant. She completely reframes human imperfection. Yes, humanity is the problem. We are chaotic, we cause pain, we are deeply, deeply flawed. But that exact same capacity for deep feeling, the very thing that causes the violent storms, is also the ultimate source of love, hope, and connection. Our vulnerability is the exact mechanism that generates beauty. And the world actually proves Akira right through what's known as the dawn of calm. As dawn breaks, people globally just stop fighting. They begin to reconcile, they embrace each other. Driven by this profound fear of losing everything, they reach out, making calls to the people they were terrified to lose, choosing genuine connection over defensive isolation. And because the planet is a mirror, the ocean immediately responds. The violent storms completely cease, replaced by a vibrant, living silence. By choosing love over fear, humanity literally pacifies the raging planet. And then we get this incredibly striking visual. Deep underwater, the enormous eye of the entity that used to be the cold observer slowly closes, and it smiles. For the first time in the entire history of this world's existence, there is perfect, empathetic harmony between the planet and the people. The entity finally understands the beauty of the human burden, and it rests peacefully within it. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this to ponder. We've looked at a universe where human emotions literally dictate the weather, the oceans, and survival itself. So I have to ask you, if the physical world around you directly mirrored absolutely everything you felt today, what kind of world would you create? Would it be a violent storm or a peaceful dawn? It's a pretty powerful thought to carry with you. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the heart of the world. Keep exploring, keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.